In today's lesson, we're going to learn about some masking transitions that you can do inside Premiere Pro. So let's get started. I have 4 videos right here, and that totals to 3 transitions. Go ahead and download them from your resource pack and import them into Premiere Pro. So let's start with an easy one. We're going to get our first clip, make a sequence, put the second clip right next to it. Label your second clip and bring it above the first clip. So I have my second video on top of the first one, and we're going to begin by moving into the effects controls. Then using the pen tool, draw like a slice from this video. So like a slanted rectangle going around your subject. Something like this. Then duplicate this layer, Option or Alt, click and drag, and we're going to grab the mask on the duplicate and just move it onto another side. You can do like 3 slices or 2, depends on you. I'm going to go with 3, so pull one here, pull the second one towards the center. The third one, we're going to move it to the other side. Hide your first layer and make sure that the spacing between these guys is good. So once you have your 3 slices, we're going to add the crop effect on all 3. So 1, 2, 3. Go on to the first one. So I'm going to make a keyframe for bottom, 0, pull it forward, and then 100 at the beginning. So we're going to have like this reveal, which is really slow right now. So just pull them in closer to get a faster result. To make this even better, we're going to right click, Bezier. So now that is looking so much better. Next, we want to do the same thing on all the other ones. I think I'll just copy crop, Command-C, Control-C, go to my third clip, which is the one on the other side, and paste it here. So now both of these guys are going to come in like this. The middle one, I will have it come from the other way. So we can just make a keyframe for top. Let me just match it with the previous keyframes. Have your playhead here, and now I can go in the middle video and make a keyframe for top, add 0%. Go to the beginning and make it 100. Turn them both into Bezier, and now we should have reveals like this. If you want them to show up at different times, you just need to work with the crop keyframes. So for example, I will go in my second video and pull the keyframes a little forward so that they show up after my first slice. So grab the first keyframe, move it 2 frames forward, and now they're not going to show up at the same time. Do the same thing with your third keyframe. And then you're going to have like a more randomized version. Let's turn these 2 into Bezier. And I'm going to start this here. So first cut shows up, second cut, and then the third cut. It's only a matter of changing the position of these keyframes. So once the lines have revealed our video, we're going to begin with mask expansion keyframes. After my slices are here, I'm going to go to my first clip, 0 for mask expansion, move like 3 frames forward, and just extend it until it reaches the other slice. Repeat this with slice number 2. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and just extend the amount until you don't get any black bars. So now we should have like a slice reveal. and I'm going to have the reveal happen at the same time. So I'm going to have my playhead here, go to my next video, and make sure that the first keyframe starts there as well. So the reveal happens at the same time. So there's my transition, looking good. If I bring my other video back, it's gonna look something like this. You can make this look better by adding some motion blur and just making it perfect. So I'm just gonna do like a color animation. Move these guys one floor up. Get a Lumetri color preset. Duplicate your first video and add that preset on it. So I guess I'll go with this. It's gonna be black and white, and I can just do a simple opacity animation. So like when the animation for my second video happens, the first video turns black and white. 100% opacity, pull it forward, then 0%. So it's gonna turn black and white, and then the second video shows up. 5 frames before the transition, move in my second keyframe. So this will happen faster. Bezier the 2 keyframes, and that is our first transition. This way I can see a better contrast between video 1 and video 2. So that was our first transition. We can just go ahead and nest all of these. Call it transition 1. Move forward, cut everything, Command K or Control K. And now I can get ready for my next transition. Video 1 can be cut a little sooner too. So now I need to transition from this video onto our next video, which is this video. So I have my second video right after the first one. We're first going to grab some rulers and slice our video into the amount of slices that we want. So I want 3, therefore I need 2 rulers. Next, we're going to grab the polygon mask and match the points to the rulers. And just duplicate this for as many slices as you need. Second duplicate, grab your mask path, and just pull this up. Third one, mask path, pull it down. So when you move the rulers, your video should just look normal. And we're not supposed to get these black lines. So zoom right in and move them up or down if needed. So now when I click away, my video just looks normal, but in reality, we just cut it into 3 pieces. So when you play it back, there should be no black lines and everything should look normal. Now we're going to pull these 3 above transition 1 or your previous video and just have these guys show up from the left to the right. So go to the effects panel and get the transform effect, placing it on one of them. Go inside, go to the beginning of the video, then count 5 frames. On this 5th frame, we're going to make a keyframe for position. Go to the beginning and just pull this completely towards the right. So it should be out of frame. Turn these into Bezier and add motion blur. Let's take a look. So now this guy is going to be like this and it will just show up. If the motion blur is too much, you can just lower the amount to get a smoother result. Now copy the transform effect and paste it onto your other 2 cuts. Next, we just need to offset the keyframes so they show up one at a time. So this will be my first slice. Let's count 2 frames. 1, 2. Go to the second slice and pull this forward. So the second slice will show up after 2 frames. Finally, go to your third slice, which is this one. Count 2 frames and bring the keyframes forward. So you should get like this staircase effect. And that's looking pretty good. So this is my second transition. Let's nest these. Call this transition 2. So that was our second transition. Let's move on to the final one. For the final transition, I have this video. It's a clear cut of a subject. You want to make sure that the head of your subject is separated from the top, from the start of the video. Right-click, go to the beginning of your video, right-click, insert frame hold segment. So this is the picture. We just need 3 frames from it. We may cut it later. Command K, get rid of that. And this is the rest of transition 2, which we just cut by accident. So we have this picture, and then the rest of the video plays. Now grab the picture, go to the beginning, and just mask out your subject. If you hold down Option, you get to work with one of these handles, and that's perfect for these situations where you have a curve here, but you don't want a curve here. Once you have a cutout of your subject, we're going to click away, make sure that everything is good, and make the feather less. 4 points or feather. And now we're going to do a simple position animation. Move in 2 frames, keyframe for position, go back 2 frames, and move this completely out of frame. So it's going to show up from the side. And if you want it to last longer, just push this aside and increase your freeze frame. So I'm going to count 5 frames from the beginning of this freeze frame and pull this keyframe back. So we get something like this. I will count 10 frames from the beginning. Hold down Shift, click on this twice, and move the second keyframe for 10 frames. And now it shows up a lot slower. Alright, so now we're just going to duplicate this for as many times as we need. Now on each of these guys, we're going to offset the position keyframes. This is the first one. Let's have the subject show up. The top one is actually your main one, so these 3 are your duplicates. Now go to the beginning, and I think I'll have mine come from below instead of the side, so I can do like a clone effect from the left and the right. So go to the beginning, and we're going to reset all of these guys. Then we're just gonna push this down all the way. So the top one shows up from below. And we want it to happen pretty fast. Maybe 3 frames. It shows up from below and ends up where the video is. So 12:53. Now for these guys, we're gonna have it come from these sides. So go to your top video where the subject shows up. We're going to move into our first duplicate. Have it be exactly where the first video is. And then we're just gonna move in a few frames, 4 frames, push it to the side, maybe like next to him. And then at the end of the transition, push him back. So just copy the first keyframe, paste it there. So if I hide the other two, and before the first video shows up, we want the bottom video to just not be here. So let's make a opacity keyframe, 100%, move it one frame forward, then 0%. So there's nothing, and then our clone shows up. All right. And I think I'll delete these two and just copy the first clone so that it's easier. Duplicate it once, move to the first keyframe, and now instead of like here, we're going to push it to the opposite end. So we get like 3 clones of our subject. And then it goes back in and the video plays. Now you can just duplicate these two many times and have it look like he has just a lot of clones. So for this one, go to the middle and change the position so that you fill in those gaps. The top layer should be your center clone. So if you want, you can just pull this way up and just have it out of sight. Duplicate these guys and fill up the little gaps. Be sure to move them in the center keyframe. You can also work with the order so that they don't go on top of each other and behind one another. So now we get this effect. And to separate the main subject from the rest, we can add like a simple monochrome Lumetri preset. Fade it, put it on all of your clones. So we're just showing that these guys are the clones. He is the main person. So that was another set of transitions that you can do inside Premiere Pro. They're all really easy and you can just put them onto your next video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this set of transitions. Let's move on to our next lesson.